Agatha, and I'll be sharing my time with Deputy Healy. At the root of climate change is wealth inequality and exploitation of the natural resources of the earth. Fixing the issues that are caused by climate change in their entirety, damage to our environment, but also global inequalities and societal injustices, will require an overhaul of how we do everything. How we move, how we eat, how we live, and how we care for each other and our planet. But fixing these issues in their entirety will give us the opportunity to create a fairer, more equal, more sustainable society and global economy. I've spoken numerous times before on climate change in this chamber. Many of us here have. Many times we have called for measures for radical legislation which is opposed or blocked by government. Despite the government's indication they will now move on to ban single-use plastics in the coming years, welcome though it is, this is only on foot of the European Union requiring it. If we were to be a leader on this issue, they would have supported the Waste Reduction Bill when we put it forward 2 years ago. They would be supporting Deputy Smith's Climate Emergency Measures Bill instead of blocking it at every turn. The government has brought out an all-of-government climate action plan. They identified the targets we need to get to, but they weren't willing to commit to the significant system change required to truly tackle the climate crisis. What is still missing from the approach of government today is ambition. What is missing from government is leadership. This government is focused on cost rather than opportunity, and we need that opportunity. Things as they stand are broken. They are broken for farmers. They are broken for our biodiversity. They are broken for rural Ireland. They are broken for our youth. In the climate case verdict this afternoon, the courts weren't willing to interfere due to the separation of powers, but there was a clear recognition of the right to a healthy environment. And that is why we need to radically change how we do things. We need to have that radical ambition when it comes to climate action. We need to invest in real public transport in all areas, urban and rural. In Switzerland, in the canton of Graubünden, it has a population density between Kerry and Mayo, and yet they have an hourly bus or rail service linked to the national grid. It is all doable if the government is willing to actually commit to helping rural Ireland move towards a greener future. They can't do it alone, and right now government is abandoning them. We need active travel measures, walking and cycling infrastructure. Changing all of our petrol or diesel cars for electric ones will not deal with congestion issues which are gridlocking our cities. And in any event, 1 million EVs by 2030 is complete fantasy. But that's not, you're missing the point in government. We need to give commuters an alternative to the car, and our children need to be able to walk and cycle safely to school. We need to have the option of taking a train or a bus, and it should be regular. That is the problem, the lack of investment in public transport. We need to make our homes warmer, and the government needs to really kick-start the enormous retrofitting project countrywide and start with our social housing stock. We need to invest in local renewables instead of sending all of our money to Saudi Arabia and the Gulf for oil, which, as we saw this week, is always going to be volatile in terms of price and supply. Let's make sure we keep that money here in our local communities. Fine Gael has spent 8 years trucking along the same route, and inequality has just grown and grown and grown. If we want to build a fairer Ireland, a greener Ireland, we need to overhaul the system. The upcoming budget needs to show a strong intention to change these systems. The government cannot continue to nudge itself a little bit forward in the right direction. We need to see an intention in the budget that ambitious system change is what Ireland is about. This will also require a change to the National Development Plan, which currently is not fit for purpose. It needs a substantial overhaul to focus on other modes of travel. Tomorrow, students and people across the country will go on strike, calling on this government to take real climate action. This has happened before. The climate strikes in March and May were truly inspirational, and it was incredible to stand there with my children, aged 12 and 11 and 8, who were screaming outside the gates of the Leinster House, seeking that leadership from the government to secure their future with all the other youth of Ireland. We have youth here, and it's inspiration, who stand up for climate action every Friday outside Leinster House. And in Dundrum, there's the Dundrum Climate Vigil Group every single Friday, like many other communities, coming together every Friday demanding the real climate action be taken by this government. Striking for climate action is not infuriating, it's liberating. These young people who are standing up for their future, standing up for themselves, they know that the system has to be rebuilt, and they are calling on all of us to get behind them so it can be done. I will be there with many others, with young people from across the country, and I encourage all members of this House to join the youth of Ireland. And I encourage the government to heed the youth of Ireland. As we begin this new Dáil term, we need to commit to real, radical change, full in the knowledge that this is the only way to secure our future and create an Ireland that is fair, an Ireland that is just, and that can be passed down and secured for the next generation.